Okay, so shaking up our paints is something that we can obviously do by hand. None of these products are required or needed in any way, but I can say that they are nice to have. Okay, so what I've got here specifically is the two kind of cheapest, almost budget paint shakers that are available on Amazon. And then I've got another one I'm going to show you, which is the wild card, which is not only the cheapest, but in my opinion, and you can decide for yourself, the best. Now, so what we've got is, this is a nail varnish shaker. You will, if you go on Amazon right now, and there's links in the description that will help me if you buy via them. But this is basically a nail varnish shaker. So just repurposed for Citadel paints and that kind of thing. In fact, I think nobody buys this for nail varnish anymore. I'm pretty sure that all the sales for this product now are probably for hobby paints. And then we have another one which is, you know, it says it's for tattoo inks. Basically does exactly the same thing. Both of these, they are available very, very readily. There'll be ones with different labels on them and that kind of thing. I'm pretty sure they're just produced in exactly the same place and rebranded for different companies and that kind of thing. So I'm gonna rigorously put them through their paces. So I've got 5 different tests. First of all is I've collected some Citadel paints, which have obviously separated. They're not dead in any way at all. It certainly can be revitalized. Same for some Citadel metallics. We've got some contrast paints, which are, you know, quite well separated, which I put into dropper bottles, but that doesn't really matter. I've got, again, more Citadel paints, but this time in dropper bottles. And then what I've got is I've got quite a lot of paints which I've got duplicates for. And what I did was I got some larger dropper bottles, which I could put a few, you know, condense a few of these into. In hindsight, that was a bad idea, because when you've got higher volume, I do find that they are more difficult to mix. So I've got 3 of those, and basically, so these plus one other, which we'll go through last, are going to go through 5 testings. So pretty rigorous, to be honest with you. I think that you'll find out everything you need to know about these products by the end of this video. And then, by the time we've been through all of these, I've got a stern test for the winner. And I have got, this is Racar Flesh. And as you can see, it's really, really separated. So that is basically pretty much just a lump in there that's just swimming around in medium. I don't think it's going to be unsavable. I don't think any paint is really unsavable until you get till they turn to pretty much chalk inside the bottle. But this will be a really stern test for whichever I deem to be the best. Okay, so roughly this one is about £25. This one is roughly about £35. And the other one that I'm going to show you is £20. So let's get cracking. We're going to start with the nail varnish shaker. So what this comes, basically, it's got a little cradle there for you to put your paints in, and it's got a little loop which secures them. Simple on off. It makes quite a lot of noise. And we can only do one at a time. So let's start. And what I'll do is, before I do each individual test, I'll show you the paints. So here we've got Wild Rider Red. That has separated completely. And if we can see in there, see there's plenty of kind of medium swimming about. It's not in terrible condition, but it is how it is. Right, let's try this one first. Right, so I'm going to start it with about 20 seconds. Okay, right, let's see what that's done for us. That looks like it's done a fairly good job there. Still a little bit of medium, which is floating about. But yeah, pretty good overall. Right, So let's move on to a metallic. So we've got some Canoptech alloy. Let's have a little look in here, see what it looks like. So these are all new paints, these ones actually. There you go, that should give us a sterner test. So that is, there's a lot of medium in there, if you can see that. See if we can get a better view in there. Yeah, lots and lots of medium. And yeah, a little bit more kind of chunked up. So let's take a look and see what this gives us. Okay, so that was 20 seconds again. So let's have a look, see what we've got. Okay, so you can see it's kind of got that sort of oil slick pattern in there. So you can see that it started to mix things up pretty well. So we'll give that another 20 seconds, I think. So when you put these in here, you can lay them like that, like I have, but they will also go kind of up that way. Okay, right, let's have a look. Okay, so we can see there's still a little bit of sort of colour difference between paint and the medium, but broadly I'd say that that's done a really good job, to be honest with you. Yeah, I'm happy with that, very happy with that. Okay, let's move over to a contrast. So what we're looking for here really, you can see the separation down the bottom. So where we want to be with this is that we want to be rid of that. So we don't want to see that anymore. So unlike the ones we've done so far, which have been new paints, these ones have been opened and they do have some stainless steel balls in there, so some agitators. So let's give this one a go. Okay, so this is too tall for us to do it that way, so this one must be laid on its side. So exactly the same with the normal standard Citadels, or with any of the dropper bottles really. They will go that way or that way, but none of the rest will. They will all have to be laid flat. So if you were, for example, doing a Citadel contrast bottle, one of the actual GW ones, that wouldn't go over long ways, it would only go one way. Right, let's give this one a go. We'll give this one 20 seconds. Okay, so we have a look at that. We can see that it's made a bit of impact in there, but it's not changed a lot. So let's give it another 20 seconds, and what we'll do is we'll maybe attach it a little bit further up the bottle, so as the bit we're trying to mix in more is more central to the actual kind of vibrating platform. So it doesn't fly off in my face as well. Okay, so there we go. Again, it's doing the job. It's getting us there. So that was 40 seconds. We'll call it a day there. But yeah, I'm not altogether. I don't think it's a fail. It's obviously working, but maybe just taking a little bit longer than we thought it might. Okay, so we're going to try one of the dropper bottles now. So again, there are agitators in here. You can see the line which we're trying to get rid of. Try and give that a good mix up. Let's give this a go, see what we've got. So again, this thing here has got different holes in it, so we can make it a little bit tighter wherever we need to. Okay, so 20 seconds. Okay, right, so what is this telling us? We can see that it started to shift that. Get a better look there. You see it started to shift that, maybe not mixed up totally. But that is a good start. I'm liking that. 20 seconds, that wasn't bad at all. Yeah, it has got an agitator in there. So let's, I can still see there's a hell of a lot of kind of gold pigment this end, but not really anything up here. So let's give it another go. Another 20 seconds. And we'll do the same. We'll put the base bit that we're trying to mix up more central to the device. Okay, let's go. All right, let's see what this did for us. Okay, so yeah, it hasn't really changed much, but I think it's done a good job. Okay, so that was 40 seconds. So let's have a quick look, see how the paint comes out. Okay, so a little bit of medium in the front there. And less and less. So yeah, I'm happy with how that's gone. Okay, final test. So what have we got here? So this is Temple Guard Blue. Now, there is basically the equivalent of 3 of these in there, okay? Which does make it more of a pain to mix properly. But let's give it a go. Let's see what we get. Okay, so we're gonna give it 20 seconds to start with. Let's go. Okay, so we can see it's made a start. It has made a start, but not enough. Another 20 seconds, I think. Okay, so we can see that it's getting there. You can see there's still a few little problems in there, but I think we can see that it's working. See bits here where it's not mixed in. But there you go, 40-second test. I don't think, you know, I know that if we go further, that will be fine. Okay, so that is that for this one. That is the 5 tests done. So what do we know? We know it makes a lot of noise. With this device, we get 3 of these. Now, I've been using this for a while, and I'm down at my last one, because over time they do degrade and they do snap. And if one of these ones snap the middle holes, it kind of renders the whole thing a bit useless, because you've got nothing to attach on at different lengths. So so be wary of that. I don't know if we would be able to buy any more of these. Maybe it's possible, but either way, this is pretty cheap. So if you love it, then you'd probably buy another one anyway, or come up with some other, you know, elastic bands or something like that that are going to help you to do it. But broadly, it's pretty good. Okay, so we're going to move over to the tattoo ink shaker. Now, very luckily, it takes the exact same charger. Please ignore the dog barking in the background. But let's give these a go. So we're going to go back to the beginning, first test again. So we've got, there's some Administratum Grey. You can see very kind of messed up looking now. Lots and lots of medium just sort of floating about on the surface, and something of a lump inside. Okay, so we'll start again, 20 seconds. Let's see how we get on. So with this one, all we do is we just push this on here. Okay, so I could already see while I was using that it wasn't working in the way I hoped it would. So I actually gave that 40 seconds and it has started to mix, but it hasn't made a whole load of progress. So we're going to give it another 20 seconds and then we'll see how it goes. So if you remember, the other one, that was 20 seconds and it mixed that nicely. This one, I would say that the paint is definitely in worse condition in here. It's definitely more lumpy in here than it was there. But we'll go again and we'll see how we get on. Okay, right, let's have a look. Oh. Yeah, so we have got a bit of a problem there. We can see that it hasn't mixed in the paint at all. Got that. Yeah, so I would say that, so that was like about 1 minute and 20 seconds. I would say that it hasn't performed fantastically well with that paint, but I would say that the Wild Rider Red that it's up against with the nail varnish shaker was in much better condition than this was. We'll keep this one to one side anyway for now. Right, so next we've got a metallic. So we've got Casterx Bronze here. Let's have a look. So again, it's a new one. Very, very, very separated. So similar condition really to the other one. Let's see how this one gets on. So again, there's no agitators in these ones because they're brand new. Okay, right, so that was 40 seconds on there. Can't tell much from the outside. Let's pop the lid and have a look. So again, it has started to work. I know you can't see that very well, but it's still very, very fluid in there. Still very, very liquidy. Okay, so that, to be honest with you, is telling us a little story about what we need to know about this particular paint shaker. So onto the contrast paint. So we've got Plague Bearer Flesh. So again, you can see the separation down the bottom. Let's have a look, see how we get on. Well, there you go. That was night and day, because that in 20 seconds has absolutely done the job on that. So instant improvement there. So really, really good. So really good at that. So that's telling me that the agitator in here is more suited for use with this. Okay, let's give it another one. So again, so we've got Baharoth Blue. So we can see, yeah, very separated. Let's give this one a go now. Okay, so that one performed really very well. You can see some of this stuff here. That's not anything to do with the paint. That's just where it's dried slightly inside the bottle, where it's been left without use for ages. But yeah, I think that's done a really good job. Let's have a quick look actually to see how it comes out. There you go. That looks, to me, well mixed. There's a few little bubbles in there. Yeah, very happy with that. Very good. So again, we see that with these style bottles with the agitators in them, it seems to be doing pretty well. Okay, so final one for this product, Xandri Dust, really, really separated. You can see that sort of sloshing around there. So again, so there's 3 pots of Citadel in here. Let's give it a go. Okay, right, so we gave that a minute or so. Yeah, and it looks to have done a decent job. So there's still some kind of lines of separation that we can see. Let's have a quick look, see how it comes out. Well, I can tell you now that when that came out, that was mostly medium, well mixed, but yeah, we've got a little way to go in there. Okay, right, so what does that tell me? What I need to know about this particular device. It works well with the bottles with agitators in them, less well with the ones that haven't. The ones that haven't really, if I'd have started this test again, I would have absolutely put agitators in there before we started. So this one isn't as noisy as the nail varnish shaker, and I like the fact that I can push different angles and areas of the bottles onto that kind of vibrating head on there. So yeah, very, very good. Okay, so finally we've got the wild card. So this is my Black & Decker mouse, which I've had for I don't know how many years. It's a sander. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to protect the bottom pad here, because basically if I try and put something on there, it's going to sand right through the bottom of the pot. So we're going to put something on here. There's no sanding head on here, but it's still an abrasive surface. So I've just got some cloth and I'm going to pop it on now, and then we're going to do these tests. Now, so what I've got is, here's some Nurgling green. Okay, and like before, very, very, very highly separated. Okay, so I'm going to try that first, see how we go. Okay, so that was 20 seconds on there on the Nurgling green. And yeah, done a very, very good job. Still a few little lumpy bits in there. Let's give it another go. Okay, so add another 10 seconds, and yeah, that has brought us to where we want to be, really. Very good. In fact, I wonder if, here's the Administratum Grey, which the tattoo ink shaker had some trouble with. I wonder how that will fare on here. Let's have a look. Okay, let's have a look. So that had 10 seconds on there, and it's all that bluish has gone. Still needs a bit of a mix up in there, but yeah, that is obviously straight away. There's the direct test there. It did what the tattoo one couldn't do. Okay, so let's move on to, we've got Sycorax Bronze. Again, very, very separated. So yeah, just swimming in medium down there. Let's give this a go. Okay, so let's see how that went. Yeah, getting there. We can see that sort of oil slicky pattern that we had from previous tests. But yeah, it's working. Let's give it another 5 seconds. Okay, yeah. It's close to doing the job there. Okay, cool. Right, contrast. So what I've got here is I saved this one. Okay, so we can see that the ones that have got the white bottom, which is basically the blues, which are for the most part, I, through using contrast paints, know that these are the most difficult ones to shake, to get rid of all of that, get that all mixed into the bottle, into the liquid. So let's give it a go. So we know that the Plague Bearer's flesh, which was on the tattoo ink shaker, that was shaken nicely in 20 seconds. That is generally a nice one to shake though. The other one, we gave that I think 40 seconds, and we can see it's working, but it's still got a way to go. So let's give this one a go, yeah? Okay, so that's after 10 seconds. Okay, it's after 20 seconds. So still a little bit there, but give a good account of itself. See if it can make any impact on the other one that was. Okay, so another 10 seconds on there. Gave a good account of itself. Okay. Right, what we got now? Arum blue. So again, very, very separated. Let's give it a go. Let's try it side on this time. Okay, so that had 12 seconds, and yeah, it looks like it's doing the job. I don't know if you can see that there, but you can see that's coming through perfectly, no medium or anything like that, just pure paint. Okay, very good, very good. Okay, so the last one, now I'll do a bit of a sum up, then make some decisions. So we've got this Dawnstone. So again, 3 Citadel Dawnstones in one tub, which usually would make it more difficult to shake up. It has very much separated, lots of liquid in there, sort of liquid medium in there. So let's give it a go. Okay, so that looks like it might have worked the best of the lot. Yeah, all of the kind of separating lines have gone. So very good. Okay, so right, let's have a little chat about these 3 different devices. Okay, so this is them ranked in price. 20 quid, about 25 quid, and about 30, 35 quid. Okay. Funnily enough, this is them ranked in the noise level as well. So obviously, Black & Decker Power Tool, much more noisy than either of the other 2. Although this one gives it a good run for its money, it is very noisy. In terms of usability, one thing that I like about these is this one, you can do 1 paint on its own, but you can leave it, you can wander off. You could leave it running for 2 minutes if you wanted to, and you can do other things within that 2 minutes. Whereas with these ones, you've got to physically hold the paints while you're doing it as well. The only issue with that, or it's not even an issue, but the only problem with that is that you can only do 1 at a time with this device. These ones, you could probably put 2 on there. This one, you could do a lot more. So the thing that you can't see through what's here is the power. So whilst this is running, I'm kind of having to hold it down so it doesn't start kind of edging away. So unless I'm holding it, it's moving. And you can feel it rattling and that kind of thing, okay? Same with this one. It's got, obviously you're forcing it down, you can feel it moving, but I can feel the power that's in these devices, and it's not really a great deal, okay? But this one, there's a lot of power running through this machine. Obviously it is a power tool, but I can tell that it's doing a lot more work in a shorter space of time than these ones are, okay? So let's give another quick example of why this one really is my favorite of the 3. And again, not great for the noise level, but for everything else, I'd say it is the winner. Okay, so if we were to look at this, okay, if I wanted to mix up, I've got 4 paints here. Okay, they're all making base contact with the device itself, and there you go. So I mixed a whole bunch at once. Now mixed a whole bunch at once. Now those are the larger of the bottles, okay? So if I was to look at something that's dropper bottle size, these smaller ones, I've got 3 of those, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 7 paints there, all making base contact. There's one. So I can shake a whole bunch of paints there. So I don't have to, you know, I can do all my paints for one night in one go. So there was one thing that we haven't looked at yet, and this is this rake half flesh. Now look, you can see that is the lump in there that's falling away from the sides. Now I don't expect this to take 20 seconds or anything like that. I mean, just look at that. If that is savable, if it is savable, I think that this is the only device which is going to do it. So let's give it a go. Let's give it a go. Personally, from having looked inside, that looks almost like rubber in there with, you know, a bit of what looks like Nuln oil on top of it. So let's give it a go, see where it gets. Well, so that had about a minute, and I almost don't believe it. It's still pretty lumpy in there, but that I'm really quite shocked. So 1 minute. Honestly, I'm pretty shocked at what just happened there. I didn't expect it to do that. I knew it would be a stern test, but I expected to be in that situation, you know, in 4 or 5 minutes, not a minute. Okay, so what I'm going to do is there's still some lumps in here, so I'm going to put an agitator in there and then give it another go and see how we get on. Okay, that was about another 30 seconds. And that's it. It's completely mixed. Okay, so normally, what would I do without any of these devices? I'd persevere with, you know, probably a really old paintbrush for ages, and mess around with it until I got some results. That was less than 2 minutes, so it's probably about 90 seconds to turn that from pretty much a ball of almost rubber back into Raycar flesh. Okay, let's see if I can find another one that's in a bad condition, see if we can get any improvement out of it. Okay, there can be no better test than a white Citadel paints. These always clog up big time. Now let's have a look, see what we've got here. So this is White Scar. This is a repeat offender. Every time I've had it, it's been a problem. So look at that, lots and lots of medium there. Let's make this an even better test than the rest of them. Right, let's get rid of all this medium that's in here. Right, so there you go. All the medium came out immediately, and what we're left with is just a block of paint in the bottom. Some more of that medium out. So there we go. So that is going to be, I'd say it's probably going to be pretty tough to mix, I would have thought. So let's try it. Put that medium back in now. Right, so if it mixes this, I'd say it's not just the best budget paint mixer out there. I dare say it'd be close to being just the best available. I know that there's various Vortex kind of lab quality Vortex shakers and that kind of thing out there. I haven't actually tried one of the expensive ones, so I couldn't possibly guess if it's going to be any better or worse. But we can do a comparison, right? So let's see if we can keep an eye on that sort of area there to see if it starts to go white, if the paint starts mixing. That was straight away. Right, let's keep going. Okay, so that was maybe 30 seconds. Okay, so that, right, let's get this, let's do this properly. Let's just have a look to see what we've been given. I mean, I have to say, that's pretty amazing. You can see a little bit around the edge of medium. That is the medium that was previously in there anyway. So the medium we poured out, then poured back in, this was still wet from that medium. So that's what you can see around the edge there. But other than that, this is brilliantly mixed in. I almost don't believe it. Okay, so I noticed from when I was putting that back in, that there was a couple of very small little lumps in there, but I have to say that's incredible for you know, for such a short period of time. Really, really cool. So really, I'm sold. And to think about it, didn't even use any agitators for this one. That was just straight out of the pot. Okay, so that's it, guys. So for me, it's first place, second place, third place. They're all good. They all do what you want them to do. This one is just more efficient. It's faster and more efficient. This one is second place. Only problem being that you can only do one paint at a time, and it is very noisy. And the other fact is that when you run out of these, when these break, you will have to find another option for it. This one, although it's good, I would say that it is not as good as the other ones, if anything, because it's more expensive. So certainly the cheapest is the best, middle range, expensive, and for me, not as good. But what do you guys think? Do you use any of these devices or anything like that? If you do, let me know. Let me know what you think of them. If there's anything that I'm missing, you know, I've seen people shake paints with electric saws, like jigsaws. They put a little clamp on where the blade should be and it shakes the paint up. I've seen all those sorts of things as well. If I'm missing anything, let me know and I may come back to this another time. But thank you very much for watching, guys. Much appreciated. I will see you all very soon.